Good morning, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church in Eugene. My name is Jill Switzer. I am a white petite woman with brown hair with a little bit of silver mixed in and glasses. I'm wearing a flowered blouse today. Welcome to our Zoom friends as well. If you have deep roots in this community, we are glad you are here. If you are newly planted and in need of water and sunshine to help you grow, we are glad you are here. If you are a dandelion seed, just passing through for a moment on the wind, we are glad you are here. Eugene will light the chalice now, symbol of the Unitarian Universalist faith, as I read these words by a very wise anonymous person. May we be reminded here of our highest aspirations and inspired to bring our gifts of love and service to the altar of humanity. May we know once again that we are not isolated beings, but connected in mystery and miracle to the universe, to this community, and to each other. Let us now say together the words of our mission. Are they there? Well, empowered by love, we transform ourselves and serve our world. We, the people, is the opening line of the Constitution of the United States of America. On this 4th of July weekend, we will hear three perspectives on what we, the people, means to the speakers and what it can mean for us as individuals and as a community. A little later in the service, we will invite everyone to come forward to place an item on the altar, if you haven't done so already, a symbol of your own roots. If you miss the memo to bring something with you, do not worry. You are still invited to write a word or phrase if you wish. If we desire to discover and explore who we are compelled to delve into where we came from, not only our own personal and family background, but also the history of our beloved community, our neighbors and friends, and the people who came before us. It can be messy, uncomfortable, and even traumatic, and also beautiful, blissful, and energizing. So I now wish to invite Janet Schlageter of UUCE's Indigenous Connection Circle to offer a land acknowledgement.
That's a tough name. Good morning. I am another petite woman, she, her, and I have, salt and pepper hair, and I'm wearing a Made in America black tee with an indigenous design that I got at a powwow last year at the Grand Ronde. So I'm going to share our UU land acknowledgement. Let us take a moment to reflect upon this place where we gather. Let us recall that this is the stolen ancestral land of the Selamela and Shifin bands of the Kalapuya people, whose descendants still live here. For time out of mind, indigenous people lived here along the Willamette River, maintaining the diverse oak savanna ecosystem through careful land management based on their deep understanding and sense of kinship with the world around them. White American settlers and colonizers decimated entire villages with disease, forcibly laid claim to the land, and brutally removed the Kalapuya people along with over 30 other tribes to what are now the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde and the Confederated Tribes of Siletz Indians. The attempts to destroy native culture continued through the banishment of language, broken treaties, and the separation of children from their families, sent to boarding schools where children were abused and traumatized. Today, there are several ongoing efforts in our region to revitalize languages, restore land and water rights, cultivate indigenous arts and sciences, and reestablish the sovereignty of native tribes. Let those of us who occupy this land resolve together to dismantle the ongoing legacies of settler colonialism, and may we do our part to steward this land, and may we continue to strengthen our relationships with our indigenous neighbors. If you have heard this land acknowledgement before, we ask that you consider responding with concrete action. Some possibilities include attending activities like the Waconee 20th Annual Living Waters Powwow on July 20th at Turner, Oregon. Shop and support Native-owned businesses, including the first Sunday of every month, which is today, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Native American Arts and Crafts Market at the Eugene Farmers Market Pavilion. Revitalize the landscape by helping out at the Native Plant Nursery Volunteer Work Party on July 24th from 9 a.m. To 12 p.m. at Alton Bacon Park. And as always, you can join the Indigenous Connection Circle here at UUCE to continue discussing and thinking about these issues throughout the year. We meet after service every fourth Sunday of the month. And I have been a member for a couple of years now, and I have to tell you, it has been wonderful. Met many new people, new friends, learned a lot, and have been on good adventures. And I thank you.
My name is Jean DeVenny. I use the pronouns she, her. For those needing a physical description, I'm an elder white woman wearing the colors of the U.S. flag, blue jeans, a navy blue and white striped shirt with a red scarf. I have short, mostly silver hair and glasses. Yesterday, we marked the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence on July 4th, 1776. With that bold act, the American colonies declared that they would no longer remain subjects of the British Empire, but would form a nation of their own. At its heart was a powerful statement of principle. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That declaration was, of course, just the beginning. Over the next 12 years came the Revolutionary War, creation of the Articles of Confederation, which was the first attempt for centralized governance, and ultimately a constitutional convention that produced, after 4 months of arguing and debate and compromise, a new framework for government, the Constitution of the United States, which was ratified in 1788. The preamble begins with 3 simple words: we, the people. Not the states, not the colonies, not companies or corporations, people. And today, those words still challenge us. Who is included in we the people? Who is heard? Who is overlooked? Who is centered? Who is marginalized? Who is welcomed? And who is left out? Are we continuing the work envisioned in the Declaration of Independence, expanding and protecting unalienable rights for all? Today, you will hear 3 speakers address what those words and what the concept, we the people, means to them.
Hey, Duluensi, Lepakawaka no Shemach, Bethany, Brave River, Eisenflay, Maria, Magdalena, Santa Elena San Miguel de Guadalupe Espinosa Tate McGuire. My pronouns are she, her, and Remy's mom. I'm a tall, middle-aged, mixed-race, white-presenting woman with long, gray, dark brown hair, and today I am wearing a wheat-colored sweatshirt. Good morning, friends, neighbors, cousins. Isn't it pretty? I give you my full name today, not to imply enrollment in my tribe, because I am not, but to offer some insight into my background and the perspective I give to the words of the day. In 7th grade, my American history textbook stated that the Lenni Lenape tribe had all died out from disease and starvation by the time of the American Revolution, which is a pretty bold rewrite. To prove that not all Lenape were ghosts, my cousin and I sang a song from our new favorite movie at the time, Smoke Signals. John Wayne's teeth, hey ya, John Wayne's teeth, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey. Are they false? Are they real? Are they plastic? Are they steel? Naturally, we were given detention for this disruption. Now that's solid proof that we were not ghosts, but our protest did not change the textbook, and it did not change how Mr. Henson taught that class. On that day, my cousin and I were not the people. We had no choice. We could not change schools or leave. The only way to be included in acceptable society was to fit the narrative that had been chosen for us, even if that was not true. This is an ongoing struggle for people with mixed backgrounds. There are times, even in 2026, when it feels like the expectation is to hide my Lenape heritage or my Irish-Mexican ancestry in order to fit in and make other people comfortable. Lingering effects of generational trauma from institutions and practices like cultural erasure and unequal rights have cast a shadow over the hearts and minds of many mixed people and minorities in this country. Taking we the people beyond the preamble of the Constitution and asking what these 3 words actually mean forced me to reconcile a lifetime of being excluded with the expectation of being included. A small town on the East Coast recently chose to celebrate a white patriot ancestor of mine. But I recall feeling very unwelcome the last time I was in that town. So when I hear the words, we the people, that does not mean me. It didn't in Mr. Henson's 7th grade classroom and countless other times. It didn't include all of my ancestors for the most of the last 250 years and the 200 before that. We the people did not mean most of who it means today. It didn't. Many of us today cannot see ourselves in these 3 words. Stigmas surround cultural identities that don't fit neatly into the strict narrative taught within the Western world. Mixed-race people are often expected to shed any heritage other than their white one, and in some cases participate in celebrating our own ancestors' downfall. Usually, I find a remote campsite during this holiday and I wait it out. This isn't due to any particularly anti-American sentiment, but the whole thing is a big bag of mixed emotions. It's difficult to describe. Over the weekend, the cashier at Albertsons very cheerfully wished me a happy 4th. I really, really tried to reciprocate the sentiment. My initial involuntary reaction was to recoil. All I got out in response was an awkward, uh-huh. And that awkward sound is what it feels like to be mixed race on the 4th of July in this country. We want to be proud, and in many ways we are. I've got stories for days. We want to be hopeful for the future, but we have a history that tells us that we cannot trust in the promise of equality. We want to be free to express ourselves. However, we have lifetimes of experience that tells us we are not always allowed the privilege of self-expression. So I appreciate the opportunity to share this with you today. Wanishi. Thank you.
Howdy. My name is Zephyr. I use he, him pronouns. Given the political situation at the federal level, it's deeply ironic to recall that our founders deliberately created a form of government to prevent one person from taking too much power. Often when we discuss the balance of power at the federal level, we compare the executive, the judicial, and the legislative branches, but when we do this, we're looking at the wrong trinity and miss the big picture. As a rule, people naturally self-organize seeking power. Given agency and opportunity, people will direct themselves into groups for habitation and sustenance, family, tribe, company, whatever. Given a large enough population, people will belong to several groups at once: Elks Club, Presbyterians, Costco, and so on. The baseline for self-organization is that people don't need a leader. Everyone is an equal member until a hierarchy is introduced. An antiquated term for self-organization is the word fellow, like in the word fellowship. More modern words like equal or peer are more likely to be used these days. The word fellow actually comes from two Old English words: fee, meaning cattle, or money or belongings, and loch, which was like a payment. Like into a collection or to a group. So the word fellow originally meant something like cow due payer. But it was an organizational group of people who shared resources and responsibilities. The original fellows probably owned collective herds. They self-organized around the protection and care of a common resource with the expectation of an equal share in return. These fellows had power. By multiplying their feet and hands and eyes and hands and ears, they could address issues of defense and support they could never have performed on their own, regardless if the interlopers were rabbits or wolves or neighbors. A group of people has more power and ability than one person alone. They self-organized seeking power, and that power was sufficient to keep them there. Anytime people gather in one place, power is created. Historically, violent mobs have been the expression of collective frustration and anger, and as such have been more destructive than beneficial, yet large peaceful gatherings worldwide have produced profound change. That great power is present when people gather is without question. The power of people working together for equal shares of a common goal is the first pillar of political power in the U.S. In medieval Europe, power cascaded down a hierarchy that started with God via bishops and continued to the kings and his princes, his dukes, and so on, with every holder of land strictly defending the moral virtues of this arrangement. Over the years, the people came together regularly to dilute and restrain the power of aristocracy with charters, with parliaments, and even revolution. And yet they discovered that merely having a seat of power repeatedly draws tyranny and corruption. Aristocratic landowners vying for positions of authority is the second political pillar of power in the U.S. Against the power of the king is the power of the coin. Developed as a means to more efficiently collect taxes, the coin spawned the merchant class as a competitor to aristocrats for political power. Through trade and colonizations, merchants developed wealth and power that frequently outstripped that of mere landowners. Throughout history, merchants and aristocrats have manipulated thrones and markets, started wars, and caused violence in order to seize power. This mechanism was clear when the U.S. Constitution was formulated, as even then it was the third pillar of power in the U.S. Now, the many layers of the federal government, which we usually talk about, exist because, well, one, they make everyone's job possible. It's not possible to do a really complicated job, but you break it down, it's easy. And that addresses one pillar of power because it helps prevent one person from taking too much power at once. It was hoped that the founders had made it prohibitively expensive to take over all the branches of government, meaning that they had the power of coin in mind at the beginning. Fast forward to modern day, and we can see what happens when a handful of extraordinarily wealthy individuals work together for a common cause. Ultimately, it will be the first pillar of power that solves the problem. We, the people. We, the self-organizing and self-interested who come together to solve a collective problem together. It was the power of we, the people, that formed this country. We, the people, ended slavery. We, the people, put votes in the hands of men and women of all races and creeds, our neighbor, and we, the people, will continue to work to make the ideals of the Constitution a reality. Because we, the people, will clean up the mess left by the aristocrats and merchants, because this country belongs to us, we, the people. Those of us here who have self-organized into this community, we are the models for everyone around us. How we reach out to help others is noticed by those who want to help. Not everyone can play a part, but every part is valuable and every part is important. The support we bring for each other is the engine that drives everything we do together. Thank you.
As a thought experiment, if we, the people, gathered here today, wanted to build such a thing as a more perfect union, ignoring already my issues with the word perfect, which is distractingly impossible, what would that union mean to us? Although we are named Unitarian Universalists, unity isn't necessarily a core value. We might find similar feelings in our tenets of pluralism and interdependence. We rely on all of us. But we do not create, to use an older version of our values, that interconnected web of life of which we are a part. Still, moving through the world with seemingly mismatched values on the table as unity and pluralism, one and all, similar and different, what do we uplift as unique, and what do we uplift as similar, as the same? I think my question is, in a plural that we are excited to be a part of, what vision are we working towards together? In many ways, unfortunately, I think that question is easier to answer for people motivated by power and control, simplicity, and what we may call tradition or name as a new tradition. Motivated by fear of something unfamiliar, it is easier to exclude than to call in, to call each other in, to call ourselves in. And realistically, it's not enough just to share something in common, to be united together. I, as an example, share history in many ways with many people. People who struggle with technology, which isn't that really universal. Oh, the binder was pushing the button, I see. I share history with many people who look and sound similar to me. I also feel a similar common discomfort, sometimes even guilt, engaging with the truth of centuries of actions that some history curriculums try to minimize. But I really believe that healing comes as we recognize our contexts, as we are present in challenging feelings and challenging conversations, as we name the tensions that are in a room. The truth is, currently as it stands, we are not entirely unified. Many people are not free to access medicine that we need, transportation, water, shelter, food. But each new day, we can build things together, we can build something, and we have the chance to live into the people and the unified vision that we want to become. As we do, as we begin, as we continue, plurality and interdependence will inform why and how we might unite. We can start the conversations we need to have. We can share resources, share time and presence. We can reach out when we're overwhelmed or when we need something, so we can pour from a full cup every opportunity we get. And we can at the same time refuse to compromise our values and refuse to become divided. I know that we, the people gathered here today, we can hold each other to high standards and hold each other through hard times.
As we extinguish the chalice, let us say together, we extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. In the words of Poet Laureate Amanda Gorman, we will rebuild, reconcile, and recover, and every known nook of our nation, and every corner called our country, our people diverse and beautiful, will emerge, battered and beautiful. When day comes, we step out of the shade, aflame and unafraid. The new dawn blooms as we free it, for there is always light, if only we're brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it. Amen and blessed be.